Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Okay, so I lied. I had one more. I saw this and I laughed my ass off halfway through. And I was like, okay, I have to do this one. This is Caitlin Johnston's article. I love this. I love this for two reasons. Oftentimes, Caitlin is doing American politics, meaning she's, across the pond. Well, that's not even across the pond. That's across the pond, the river, and then some. But essentially from Australia, looking at American politics. This time she's in Australia, looking at Australian politics, dealing with America, or I should say Australian news deal with American politics. Hillary Clinton visited, it wasn't her, but Hillary Clinton visited Australia. And Caitlin Johnston wrote this article. Hillary Clinton just told 5 blatant lies about WikiLeaks. Uh-oh. I'm gonna read part of this because it's awesome. I'm not gonna read everything, but I'm putting the link in the bottom. I love her writing. So, as part of her ongoing, Jesus Christ, thank fuck you didn't like me. Thank fuck. Okay, that sounds a little weird. As part of her ongoing "Thank fuck you didn't like me" tour, Hillary Clinton made her debut on Australian television last night in an interview with the ABC's Sarah Ferguson. Though she didn't repeat her infamous 17 intelligence agencies lie, which she continued to regurgitate long after the claim had been conclusively debunked, there were still plenty of whoppers to be heard. From her ridiculous claim that the aggressive protest, that the aggressively protested DNC convention was very positive, quote unquote, to her completely baseless claim that Bernie Sanders couldn't explain his programs during the primaries, Clinton did a fine job of reminding us why the average American finds her about as trustworthy as a hungry crocodile. That's some down under humor right there. But while she had blamed her loss on James Comey and Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders and self-hating women and the media and uninformed voters and voter suppression, her campaign staff and the DNC and campaign finance loss and Jill Stein and the Election College and Anthony Weiner's sexism and Vladimir Putin and Hillary Clinton reserved the lion's share of her deceit for the organization she hates most of all, WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks. That was a long string of essentially everything that she was blaming that was not named Hillary Clinton that was responsible for her losing to reality shows. Here are the 5 lies that Clinton told about the outlet during her ABC's interview. Lie number 1. Claims WikiLeaks never publishes anything about Russia. Now, that's not true. As if he's such a, martyr of free speech, why doesn't WikiLeaks ever publish anything coming out about Russia? Clinton asks of WikiLeaks editor Julian Assange, mere weeks after WikiLeaks published a massive leak drop on Russian domestic surveillance. I remember this myself. It published a massive dump of information about what was going on in Russia and Vladimir Putin's essentially surveillance state. The way they would put cameras and whatnot is immensely creepy. What they were doing in regards to Russia. That was like 2 weeks ago. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's an amazing whopper considering that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago and everybody knows it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But that's the leaks were timed to eclipse the Access Hollywood grab him by the pussy October surprise. She kind of makes the point that WikiLeaks had announced this dump was going to take place a long time in advance. It wasn't scheduled to stop him with the quote-unquote grab him by the pussy dump at all. Ultimately, the grab him by the pussy thing came out and just so happened to coincide with the time that WikiLeaks had said in advance that it was going to put its information out. Lie number 3. Implying that there was nothing incriminating in the Democratic Party emails that WikiLeaks published. I'm going to read this part because I love the way she's put this. Throughout the interview, Clinton babbled about the Pizzagate conspiracy theory, babbled about the Russian propaganda, babbled about the content of the leaked emails being twisted into something false, babbled about everything except the undeniably incriminating things found in those documents. Whenever you get Clinton talking about WikiLeaks, she insists that the problem wasn't the revelation of an appalling amount of corruption, but a Kremlin-backed propaganda campaign to make perfect, innocuous emails look bad. This has been a long-standing tactic by the Democratic establishment in response to the embarrassing 2016 leak drops. The absurd narrative that the DNC and Podesta leaks were squeaky clean and only painted to look incriminating by Russia propaganda is required in order for the Democrats to have their WikiLeaks cost us the election narrative while also keeping their we did absolutely nothing wrong narrative. It is the only way they can have their cake and eat it too. Essentially, it is absurdity. If you're going to say, I've made this argument myself, if you're going to say, we are immensely angry that these leaks were, that these leaks came out. And in these leaks coming out, we find out that you're cheating Bernie Sanders and you're telling us, look, I guess my point is, you can't say that you're angry about Russian cheating, but at the same token, what's there, what you're saying is taking place, is that emails show that you were cheating the other candidate. And cheating to such a degree, or doing things that were so horrible from the standpoint of the public, that the public recoiled in horror at what you guys were doing. Now you're trying to say that that information was innocuous, that that information didn't matter one iota, didn't matter one bit. And yet, when the public looked at it, they were repulsed by what they saw. So repulsed by what they saw that they chose to choose Donald Trump or somebody else. You can't have it both ways. Either what was in those emails was innocuous and nobody cared and it was unicorns and rainbows and the world was great. Or it was atrocious and horrible and there were bad things in those emails and those things made the public recoil in horror and choose the other candidate. Which one is it? Is it that there were bad things in your emails? Bad things in your emails, things that you shouldn't have done in those emails? Or was it innocuous? If it was innocuous, it shouldn't have cost you your election. It only cost you the election if there were things in there that you didn't want people to see. This is the point that she's getting at. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Pick a pony. Pick a pony. The problem is, and I kind of continuously made this point, you're trying to say that the Kremlin somehow cheated you. And it cheated you by releasing information showing that you were cheating Bernie Sanders. Understand the ridiculousness of this narrative, and yet this is the narrative that they push continuously. Yes, she's right. She's right. In reality, the conspiring and us versus them language between DNC officials and their leaked emails unquestionably reveals a blatant violation of Article 5, Section 4 of the DNC Charter, which promises the American people that the DNC chairperson, who was included in and participated in many of these emails, shall be responsible for ensuring that the national officers and staff of the Democratic National Committee maintain impartiality and even-handedness during the Democratic Party presidential nominating process. This plainly did not happen, as a glance of some of the nastiest emails reveal. The DNC charter was revised with this promise to prevent a Dem exit after the 1968 fiasco in Chicago, and in 2016 they undeniably broke that promise. God damn it, preach it. She is having church in this article. As bad as the DNC leaks were, the later leaks drops were far more incriminating. From Donna's Brazil serving as a mole against the Sanders campaign and passing multiple debate questions in advance to Hillary Clinton, to an email with Citigroup executives instructing Obama which cabinet picks who would then go to shape the policy for dealing with Wall Street crooks after they caused the 2008 global collapse. He was permitted to choose from prior to his election in 2008 to the Clintons taking bribes from Qatar and Morocco and knowingly accepting funds from political bodies that arm ISIS, to evidence that the DNC was stacking the deck for Clinton as early as 2014, to a suggestion that the Clinton campaign has some sort of leverage over Bernie Sanders, to Clinton promising to a group of Goldman Sachs executives that she would lie to the American people for their benefit by assuring that she understood the importance of having both a public position and a private position when it comes to economic matters. There was more than enough shocking data there to rightly hurt Clinton's approval rating. So the notion that fake news and Russian propaganda were needed in order for WikiLeaks releases to hurt Hillary Clinton campaign are blatantly deceitful. Clinton wasn't hurt by fake news and Russian propaganda. Clinton was hurt by the truth. Oh, I love that. I love that. There's something about that line. I love that. You know, if you remember, Rachel Maddow had this very weird... She brought somebody on from the Clinton campaign, and she asked them... She was asking the guy questions, and the guy said they weaponize truth or weaponize reality. Weaponizing reality. Think about that. Weaponizing truth or weaponizing reality. You're a political candidate. Your job is to represent the public, supposedly to represent the public, at least in a comic book world, to represent the public. And there's information coming out that you weren't doing that you were doing the opposite of that. And that you were doing very bad things that you really had no business doing. And you guys were caught red-handed and you were embarrassed by the information that was released. And you make up this case that, A, the information is true. So you can't get past that. So you make it look like it's Russian propaganda. And if you look at it, you're some kind of Russian red planet spy that needs to be corralled into some kind of gulag. It's amazing. It's amazing. The fact is, the information was true. And you either deal with the fact that the information is true because people, for the most part, understand that the information is true. You have a small section of the population that doesn't want to look at it and doesn't want to believe it. Take them off the table. The rest of the public has no issue looking at that information at all and come to some consistency saying, oh my God, is that what the Democratic Party was doing? She was hurt by truth. That sounds so wild. But yes, she was hurt by truth. The reality of the situation hurt her. People were like, holy shit, is that what they were doing? Holy shit. Yes. If you want to call that Russian propaganda, reality is being Russian propaganda, okay. But let's still call it reality and understand that where reality is. Line number 4. Julian Assange is a tool of Russian intelligence who does the bidding of a dictator. That's amazing. Julian Assange just released a massive dump of Russian information. I would wager that Vladimir Putin in no way would like that information be released. If you listen to the conversation between Vladimir Putin and Roger Stone, is it Roger Stone? The director, I can't think of his name. Last name is Stone. Vladimir Putin has a certain demeanor that he tries to get across. That particular demeanor does not include, yes, I'm spying on every Russian citizen. Trust me, that never came up. That never came up. WikiLeaks publishing that dump of information was immensely embarrassing. Now, yes, to some degree, you assume, you say, yeah, okay, I can see it. Yes. But I would imagine you didn't necessarily want that information out there. It's not a Russian agent. It's not an anything agent. It's just public information that you didn't particularly like. Information, mind you, that was true. That was true. If the American public got a hold of true information about a candidate and they looked at it and said, I don't like this candidate, how are you faulting the agency that gave the information? Was the information true? Yes or no? Donald Trump had a video where he's talking about sexual assaulting a woman. Mind you, one gaffe after the next one, week after week after week after week after week. And you're complaining about WikiLeaks. Come on, man. Come on. The guy's a reality show host. The guy acts like a reality show host. It's not like he's, you know, some kind of presidential thing. He never changed. He's on Twitter having Twitter battles and having arguments with the NFL. You lost to a clown. Now, you can make this case and say WikiLeaks hurt you because WikiLeaks published information that was true and all this other stuff. But this guy was an absolute clown the entire campaign. He was a clown the entire campaign. And so this thing of Julian Assange being a tool of Russian intelligence is insane. You just lost. Line number 5. Claiming WikiLeaks helps spread lies and is therefore not protected by the First Amendment. WikiLeaks has never published anything that was proven to be false. Flat fact. Flat fact. WikiLeaks can't publish anything that's proven to be false, because if it does, that's the end of WikiLeaks. I'm making the point that WikiLeaks' credibility has to do with this kind of 100% anything that we've put out there and we say is true has been proven to be true. That's never changed. So if Hillary Clinton is making this case, I don't know what Hillary Clinton is making this case based on. Let's see what she says. Sarah Ferguson, isn't he just doing what journalists do, which is publish information when they get it? Hillary Clinton, I don't think so. I think for number one, it's stolen information. Number two, if all you did was publish it, that would be one thing. But their concerted operation between WikiLeaks and Russia, and most likely people in the United States too. Okay, I'll ignore the odds. I'm sorry. But there was a concerted operation between WikiLeaks and Russia, and most likely people in the United States too, as I say, weaponize that information to make up stories, outlandish, often terrible stories that had no basis in fact, no basis in even the emails themselves, which were used to denigrate me, my campaign, and people supported me and helped Trump. How is publishing information that's true denigrating you, man? Come on. Come on, man. Come on. How dare they publish my speeches? Those things were supposed to be private. I didn't want the American public to know what I was actually thinking. Psh, denigrating me and my campaign by publishing true information. Are you shitting me? Is this the argument you're going to make? Is this the argument you're really going to make? You're really going to sit on television and you're going to look into a camera and you're going to say this with a straight goddamn face. That's amazing. Who's denigrating you by publishing factual and true information? If you're having this conversation about Pizzagate and everything else, those are just emails. That's the shit that you guys were talking about. It's true information. Now, yes, you may have some people who might have whipped up stories and stuff around it. That has nothing to do with WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks just published the information that was out there. That's it. That's it. What exactly are you defining as being unfactual and true? What was used to denigrate your people, man? Denigrate is just a strong word. Maybe that's why I'm gravitating around that word. But Jesus Christ. Oh, shit, there's more. A total outright lie. So I think that, you know, I have no objection to accurate information about being published. I mean, that's what the First Amendment, that's what freedom of information is. But none of it was false. What about it was false? They asked that crook Donna Brazil. I remember Jordan Sheridan put a camera in her face and said, hey, there's an email that said you were giving questions over to the Hillary Clinton campaign while you were working at CNN. And Donna Brazil was like, yeah, you haven't seen all of the email. Yeah, I understand that. We haven't seen the other email, but is there going to be another part of the email that says the first part of the email was bullshit? Is there? Is there a second part of the email that's floating in the ether somewhere that completely contradicts the first part of that email? If not, it looks like you sent a question to somebody who was on the Clinton campaign. God damn it, man. Oh, god damn it, man. It annoys the shit out of me. I'm sorry. This is aggravating story. It's aggravating story. It's aggravating on a few levels. I'm sorry. Kaylin Johnson, you're writing this fucking awesome. I love this article, by the way. So, what aggravates me... What aggravates me is how can I articulate this? I'm feeling immensely aggravated, but I can't necessarily put into words why. WikiLeaks publishes information about things that are going on in the real world. This is what the people are talking about behind the scenes. This is what people are talking about in power. Corruption is rampant throughout your government. Here it is. Now, the people who are found in that corruption says, wait a minute, these guys are publishing too much information. This information shows that I'm being corrupt. I don't want people to know that I am corrupt. Well, too bad. That's why they hate WikiLeaks. Now, in their mind, an investigative journalist is supposed to do a bunch of other stuff that will prevent them from putting that information out. Well, WikiLeaks just says, this is the information we got. This is the information we're putting out. We're making sure the information is correct. The information is correct. The information goes into the public. It is annoying, immensely annoying, to be caught red-handed, which is what's taking place, and to lie about it, shamelessly lie about it, Hillary Clinton has all the money in the world and could be sitting somewhere with a good fucking life. She didn't want to do that. She wanted to come out and have a book tour explaining to each and every person about why she lost a reality show host, even though nobody wants to know why she actually lost a reality show host. Most people understand why she lost a reality show host. You have a bunch of hillbots, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be politically divisive, but goddamn it, you have a bunch of hillbots who says, "Oh my God, I want to read this book. I want to read this book. I want Hillary Clinton to explain to me why she lost the reality show host." And then you find 100 reasons of why she lost the reality shows, none of which has the term Hillary Clinton in any of it. It's amazing. Write a whole fucking book and not use your name in any condemnative fashion at all. And I haven't read the book, so I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that's where this goes most of the time. It is aggravating to me that A, they cheated Bernie Sanders. B, they lied about cheated Bernie Sanders. C, at the point where they went into the Democratic Convention and everything else, they pretended as if they didn't cheat Bernie Sanders. D, held Bernie Sanders' broken body up in the DNC convention and toted it around. No. Yes, I still bitch about that. Yes, I know that was 10 months ago. I don't care. Fuck it. I'm being honest. And if we keep going into this, there's a ton of other reasons that I think annoy the shit out of me about American politics. But one of this is this shameless looking into a camera lying. God damn it, man. Some of this stuff can just be outright shown to be false. You're attacking WikiLeaks, an organization. A man has been sitting in a basement of the Ecuadorian embassy in Britain for God knows how long. Keith Olbermann, somebody who I actually admired at one point, took a shot at WikiLeaks. And I thought to myself, what exactly are you attacking when you're attacking WikiLeaks? Are you mad that he published information that was true about Hillary Clinton? Do you believe that he should have just not published information about Hillary Clinton? If that's true, if that's the position that you take, do you just not give a shit what takes place in American politics, or only when it affects the person that you don't like? Now, I don't like to think of Keith Olbermann that way, but certainly that seems to be the turnover of where this is going. I don't like the blatant lying in politics. You're supposed to represent a certain interest. You don't represent that interest. You lost reality shows. Get over it. Go away. Go away. You lost the reality shows. Why are you still around? I just don't understand that part. You have all this money in the world. I gotta be honest. Even with these billionaires and whatnot, I don't understand this thing of, why are you screwing around with the political apparatus? Why don't you leave people alone and leave them to their devices? You have all the money in the world. You could be on your little yacht. You could be on your little plot of land. And you could be left to your own devices. That's not how it works. Never how it works. Every time she speaks is denigrating. That's Marla 79. How does one denigrate a degenerate? Ooh, Pat Hacker, that's brutal. Maria 79, she strives for testing limits. She's got to throw her tantrum at how the hell is she's going to last. Hillary Clinton doesn't believe in the truth. I just can't forget and forgive. Truth and justice I believe in. How many pay? It depends on how. Forget and forgive. It depends on the context, right? I was stunned. And I think a lot of burners were stunned when after the election, the entire DNC process, where they were trying to choose somebody else for the DNC chair, each and every person would get on stage and say, we're completely united. There's nothing to see here. The primaries were spectacular. The world is awesome. Candy corns and rainbows for everybody. And you watch this and you thought to yourself, these people are fucking insane. Certainly they understand that that's not true. They're lying to us. And it gets more aggravating to watch them sit there and lie over and over and over again. Every time one of them would talk, they would lie through their teeth. The very act of pretending as if there was unity is on its face a bold-faced lie. Didn't stop them from doing it. Yeah. I'm not gonna overly bitch. It's just this shameless way of lying, man. It's just, it's overtly intense. It's one thing if you're, look, if you're Hillary Clinton and you're not having a conversation, you just lie to me in my ear. just between us. You just lied to me as a person, as an individual. And just as people interact with one another, I kind of expect a little bit of lying. It just works that way. But when you're sitting in front of an audience of millions in another goddamn foreign country for that matter, and you're just laying one whopper after the next and attacking an organization in the pursuant to, I mean, essentially you're attacking an organization pursuant to attacking an organization. You're making one lie after the next. It's something aggravating about that. That's all. That's all. It's something immensely aggravating. The DNC buys all their books so they can get on the bestseller list. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. If you think 16 was bad, you should have seen. Again, don't mind seeing Hillary embarrassing herself again in 2020. No, I don't want to see that woman anywhere near the... No. Don't even joke about that. Don't even joke about that. Hillary got pulled over for running red light. Can you guess what her excuse was? I'm Hillary Clinton. I can do whatever the fuck I want. If you don't lock me up for my emails and for the Clinton Foundation, then you're not gonna shouldn't give me a ticket. I don't know. Who knows? Also remember how Humphrey was handed the nomination without even campaigning during the campaign primaries. Barry Jennings, the Russians. Wow, you're... this is Marla 79. I'm sorry, I was reading the comments. You're going back to 68. Oh wow, yeah, they're going back to the political history on this one. So the Democratic Party could choose whoever it wants to choose. That's for the most part a corporation, and like they said in court, if we wanted to in the back room, we could choose whoever we wanted. Now, at one point, they did do this. This is what they're talking about on the chat on the side. No, you can't see the chat, but this is what's going on the chat. The Democratic Party did this at one point, and they chose the candidate, and the public was like, what the hell? How are you just choosing a candidate? This is not going to fly. Now, if I remember correctly, the primaries, they ran through the primaries. If I'm not mistaken, this was when Jackie Kennedy got shot. Jack Kennedy got shot, right? The brother, not the president. And it was somebody else who just kind of got swept in his place as opposed to the person getting the number of nominations or something. I was not there then, so I could be wrong on this. This is me going back through my political history. Yeah, they're having a history off. I love my audience. I love my audience. It was like, I was back there during that time. Well, goddamn it, I'm a history buff. I know what I'm talking about. It's awesome. No, it wasn't Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy didn't get a shot. Ted Kennedy died an older guy. Bobby, that's it. Bobby Kennedy gets shot in California. The question becomes, who has the number of votes behind him? Pat Hacker. G. McCarthy was the first politician I was excited about. Marla, yeah, it was Bobby. Yeah, man, people forget how bad the 60s were. Like, yeah, people forget how bad the 60s were. It's like the country was being pulled apart, or at the very least, that's the way people describe it, as feeling like the country was being pulled apart. It's hard to kind of get across this thing of having a president shot, and then having his brother shot later, then having Martin Luther King shot, then having Malcolm X shot, then having, like, you're having one thing after the next. You're having people setting bombs in order to protest the Vietnam War. You have riots left and right. All the country was being, yeah, the country was under stress. I'm more shocked you don't have more of that now. I got to be honest, and I don't quite understand why. If it was that way then, do people care less, or are the times just different? I don't have an answer to that one. Bobby was shot in California, yes. Yeah, Ted Kennedy, Lion of the Senate. I have this awesome video of Ted Kennedy where he's going after minimum wage. He's trying to get a minimum wage increase. And he flips out. He completely flips out. He loses his shit big time. And he loses it in a way where you're like, yes, Yes, you feel some kind of way about the way he's losing. I love it. That's one of my favorite videos. They killed Bobby once it was clear that he might win, but Marla. Bobby was 68. Alright, this one wasn't going to be long. I was just, I saw Caitlin Johnson's thing, and as I was reading it, I was laughing my ass off. I was reading it. I really liked it. And so I wanted to highlight it and put it up. I'm putting her article in the bottom. Yeah, she has a link to the interview and also. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support on Patreon. Thanks everyone.